Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you like this episode, please remember to hit the like button and leave a comment or two, then subscribe and click on the bell to receive notifications of whenever we release new videos. Also, please remember to share them to your social media. His breath heaved the warm afternoon air as he made his way toward the lake from the trailhead. Marveling at the daggers of light that stabbed through the canopy and illuminated the forest floor, the elderly man basked in the peace and solitude of having the trail to himself. The sky was brilliant blue as the sun forced shadows to retreat stubbornly. The forest canopy was shimmering in its emerald glow, but along the trail it was shady and dim. Approaching the junction of the trail, he heard some rustling, then an enormous, dark shadow blurred toward him. Welcome back to Scary Bear Attacks. Glacier National Park has been the location of many an episode on this channel, and unfortunately, it is for this one as well. The rugged hillsides and steep rocky peaks were formed by the slow grinding of glaciers, leaving fertile valleys of glacial till. The forests of western red cedar, western hemlock, and Douglas fir thrive in the valley bottoms, and shelter huckleberry, thimbleberry, and serviceberry shrubs. With winters that begin earlier than surrounding areas, several feet of snowfall is the standard each year. The summers are moderate with regular rainfall, keeping everything green and lush. The abundant plant life creates prime habitat for white-tailed deer and mule deer, elk, moose, mountain goats, and bighorn sheep. The predators here are a wily and dangerous group. Counted among their numbers are blackbears, bobcats, cougars, coyotes, and a thriving population of dangerous grizzly bears. The Avalanche Creek Trail breaks off the Avalanche Trail and travels for about 2.5 miles from the valley bottom to the lakeshore, and is one of the park's favorite day hikes. On June 5, 1996, 70-year-old Ken Larson made it his goal for the day to climb to the lake and return after a brief rest in the beautiful mountain scenery. Ken had long hoped to visit the park and wander its trails. He was finally able to realize his goal and parked his car at the Johns Lake Spur parking lot before departing for the lake. He wasn't carrying a firearm and did not have the companionship of a dog. Bear spray was a new product and was not widely used, so he didn't have the assurance of that either. He was alone and perfectly comfortable with solitude in the wilderness. Ken had no way of knowing that a sow and her cub had been visiting the Avalanche corridor and were near his location. She had lost at least one of her cubs and was likely quite protective of the only one that remained with her. The protective mama bear and her cub were on a trajectory with Ken's travel route, leading to a tragedy that would change the man's life. Having left the trailhead only a few minutes prior, Ken had traveled a few hundred yards uphill when out of his periphery he could see a large brown object streaking toward him. He'd read up on bear behavior and how hikers should respond in the presence of a bear, but he had left his vehicle only moments before. It was only a few hundred yards from the main road, so running into an angry grizzly was unfathomable. Turning his head, Ken's vision was filled with the image of a huge grizzly bear bounding toward him. Each time her paws reached forward, she covered 20 feet, leaving him only seconds before she would be on him. Adrenaline is a strange thing with varied effects on people. It isn't clear if Ken cowered as she approached or began yelling, but one thing is certain, she plowed into him and sent him flying. Before he could regain his senses, she was on top of him, biting into his scalp and pulling ribbons of flesh from his skull. Pain seared through his body as the grizzly then bit into his lower leg, crushing his tibia. The sow seemed to move so quickly that Ken could not react to one injury before feeling the pain of another. She bit him rapidly over his arms, chest, and shoulders, punching holes in his flesh with her canines and crushing tissues with her bite pressure. Now dizzy, bleeding, and stunned, Ken suddenly realized the bear had disappeared almost as quickly as she had attacked. She rounded up her cub and headed for the brush after disabling what she viewed as a threat to herself and her cub. Nearby, a small party of trail hikers had overheard Ken's screams he didn't know he'd uttered. They arrived to see a tattered but still conscious Ken trying to stand. Comforting him, they encouraged him as they notified rangers and medical professionals. Ken was transported to Kalispell Regional Hospital, where the wounds to his head, arms, leg, and torso were cleaned and bandaged. His shattered tibia was repaired in a surgical operation, and the long process of healing and recovery began. Unlike some Glacier encounters, this bear was not immediately hunted down. Rangers searched the area, but determined that the bear and her cub had been surprised on the trail. Because no food conditioning was involved, managers opted not to kill the bear. The grizzly sow had not demonstrated predatory motives, like caching Ken for later consumption. She was not guarding an animal carcass, but acting in defense of her cub. Speaking of cubs, our Cub Tier membership on Patreon linked below will give you ad-free early access to episodes, photos, and notes. And the $3 per month goes a long way in helping me continue to produce educational and entertaining content like this. Glacier National Park spans just over 1,000 square miles, and biologists estimate that by the mid-1990s, between 200 and 300 grizzlies lived within the park boundaries. That equates to roughly one bear for every 4 to 5 square miles, though densities spike in rich valleys, like Avalanche Creek. Statewide, Montana supports over 1,000 grizzlies, with the Northern Continental Divide ecosystem, where Avalanche Lake lies, hosting the largest continuous population south of Canada. After reviewing the facts surrounding this episode, I'm left with a few questions for you. Do you think losing her other cub or cubs put this grizzly sow into a hyper-defensive state of mind? Was the bear defending a promising source of food or exerting her dominance over a perceived competitor? Was this sow and her cub seeking relief from belligerent male grizzlies near people for her only remaining cub? I will gladly read and reply to your thoughts, so post them in the comments section below, and let's talk about it. Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider clicking on the like button and clicking on the bell icon. We'll help you know when we post our new episodes. Posting our video links to your social media profiles furthers awareness, and it's fun. We slashed our prices in our merch store, linked below, so check out the bargains there while you shop. As a member of our human community, remember to adventure bravely and be careful out there, especially in bear country.